Good afternoon to you. I wanted to give you some information as we finish off this semester. First of all, with the syllabus, tear off the front page of the syllabus so that you have my name, my phone number, and my email address. And, feel free to contact me if you need help with a letter of recommendation, to list me as a reference on your resume, and whatever you need. Of course, I can write you a letter of recommendation in the traditional way, as far as type out a letter and mail it to you, or send it through email. And what I actually prefer to do more and more these days is for you to develop a profile on LinkedIn.com. And then in that way, if you say, would you recommend me? First of all, you'd have to get connected to me. We'd have to get linked together. And then you could send me an email, and then I could write a 2 or 3 paragraph recommendation, and then you could get a few others. But the benefit of doing that is when people are looking for others or looking for employees or whatever on LinkedIn, they can see your recommendations. And so that's a nice feature. You can develop a profile there as well. For these technical communication classes this semester, there was only one that I couldn't do the College Central in, but with the other 4 classes, we did use www.collegecentral.com/WCCC. And on there, of course, you can upload your resume. You can upload as many as 15 documents there in your career portfolio. And then you can search for internships. You can search for jobs. And then they also have information on career fairs and all sorts of information. And then, of course, you can get connected to, WCCC Career Services through Twitter. They have an account on there, through Facebook, and they're also on LinkedIn. So there's a couple different places. They figure that more students are on Facebook, and so they like to connect to students in that way. So I did want to mention that to you. If you have created a profile on College Central and the colleges they receive, career services, they receive job opportunities, you will receive an email, and so they'll say, Pittsburgh National Bank or whatever bank it is looking for someone as an accounting clerk, or the IRS is looking for someone, or this company is looking for a database manager or a web developer or so on. And so you can apply if you like, but you will start to get those. The biggest thing that I want to stress to you, especially if you move from southwestern Pennsylvania and you go to another part of the United States, such as if you move to North or South Carolina, if you move to Florida, if you move like out west to Nevada, Colorado, if you go to Texas, California, any of those states, it's really advantageous to be able to speak Spanish. Even if you only take a non-credit class and learn some basic Spanish, it really helps. My wife Vicky, when we lived in San Diego, she worked at the University of California, San Diego Medical Center, Trauma Center there. And, of course, there would be people that would come in with industrial accidents, people that had a chainsaw hit them, or people that got into a really severe accident, a bus crash, a motorcycle accident, you name it. They really had, they had to deal with it. And if you want to get somebody to move to the right, move to the left, how much pain do you feel, and so on, that's an advantage. One other consideration for you, and this is a language that most people don't consider, is American Sign Language. That's a good way to communicate with others, and so you can learn that. And of course, if you wanted to use Chinese or Japanese, and those are big languages these days, but that'll give you an advantage, over others. So I would, suggest that to you. When you are done here at WCCC, one of the recommendations I have for you is transfer your College Central account from to alumni, and in that way you can continue to use your account. And then also that I wanted to make you aware is, when you do graduate, you can still use career services here at the college. They can help you with resume development even more. They can help you with recommendations for other types of places to look for a second or third job. If you're at a first company and you feel like, well, maybe there's not as much room for opportunity here, maybe I'll go to another company. And so they'll give you some different ideas. And so that's something that they can do. And that's something that is a really good advantage. Also here at this college, just like any library, you can go and meet with a reference librarian and find out more about a company. What types of products do they have? What sorts of organizational chart? Are they a hierarchical kind of organization? Are they a flat organization? Flat is when people, there's more, it's easier to communicate. There isn't as many layers as far as that goes. They would say like Google is a company like that. But if you can work for a company like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, a company like that, I mean, they're a big organization and they're more, you have the levels and you go the whole ways up and that's how it is. But with many of these newer companies, there's fewer levels and so it's easier to have direct communication with your boss and supervisors and so on. But I also wanted to mention to you as well, here at the community college, there's a good number of really, really good non-credit courses. And in some majors, like my wife Vicki came back to school and she was in the early childhood education program. And anyhow, she had to take some classes in like toddler resuscitation, first aid, those types of things. But they also offer non-credit courses for people that are in the profession that need to get so many continuing ed credits and so on. But when you get the continuing education brochure, the pamphlet, tabloid, whatever it is, when you get that, don't throw it away. Look in there because the classes are very affordable. Typically, they might only last, 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes less. And you can pick up some good skills. I recently went through teaching online. I've taught online for a long time, but I took a class through this company called LERN, and it was Introduction to Online Teaching, and I learned some helpful tips. And then Advanced Online Teaching, and then I got a certificate from them, and I thought, boy, that was pretty good. But I've taken photography. I've taken a number of different computer classes. I've taken more than 15 computer classes that were non-credit. And so that's an advantage here that you can always remember, because that's one of our biggest strengths here, not only besides the credit programs and the other disciplines that we offer, but we have a really excellent, robust selection of non-credit classes and offerings to consider. 3 other areas that I'm going to mention to you that I feel that are advantageous to you. First one is, sometimes you see in the newspaper, sometimes at your company, they'll have these communication skills courses, and I'll give you a good example. My sister Beth, when she graduated from Edinburgh University, her first job was in the Bronx in New York City, and she had to take a course called Verbal Judo, and it was a class where you had to learn to deal with difficult people. She had to deal with people that were gunshot wounds, stabbings, people that were in family arguments, and you had to be able to communicate with people to get them to comply without physically touching them. And I know the state police take classes like that and so on. So that's a good class to take. They also, some companies will have something like, the Dale Carnegie course or other courses that deal with communication. And if you can take those are good. The other thing that I wanted to tell you is, as you start to work, or even before you start to work as a student, join a professional organization, because especially as a student, they always like students to join, and they'll give you a discounted rate. And then you'll get their publications, you'll get to go to their conferences, and so on. Like I belong to the Pennsylvania Association for Developmental Education. There's a National Conference of Teachers of English. So there's a organization for people that teach at a community college. And so there's a lot of different organizations you could belong to, and you can join those. And of course, through LinkedIn, you can also get connected to different organizations. If you're into web design, you can connect to other people here in southwestern Pennsylvania that do the same thing. So that's a good opportunity. And as I said, when you start to work, go to conferences, go to activities, and you will learn and you will meet more people. And if you have good ideas, present at conferences, because that's obviously to your advantage. So I just wanted to give you some ideas to consider, as you graduate. But as you move down the road, always make sure to keep strengthening and developing your skills. And if your company pays for you to return to school, get another degree. Because a couple years ago, I returned to school and I got a second degree, and I have my undergraduate degree is in business and marketing, and then the next degree I got a master's degree in the teaching and writing, and then I went back to school for a second master's degree a couple years ago in master's of professional writing through Chatham University, and so that was a good opportunity for me. So if your organization pays, do it, and typically you'll get a raise and you'll gain more skills and more knowledge. So hopefully this video is helpful to you. That's it. Thanks.